the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has shut down a bakery for using unfortified sugar and banned bromate in SOKOTO State. And the NAFDAC State Coordinator, Mr. Garba Adamu, told newsmen on Friday that the bakery was detected during a special raid by agency officials. In his words, and I quote, "We discovered that the bakery was using saccharine and unregistered foreign sugar as sweetener, along with banned bromate in their productions. The items were seized for destruction and the bakery shut down until it complies with regulations and directives," he said. Adamu emphasized that only fortified registered sugar containing vitamin A with micronutrients and other vitamins is allowed to be sold and consumed in Nigeria. This is not just a crime by the bakery now. If you look at the last statement where he said only this kind of sugar is allowed to be sold in Nigeria. So where did these guys get the wrong sugar? The foreign banned sugar that they're using in their bakery in the first place?
Let me start with Shakespeare. To be or not to be? That's the question. Now, I know why. No, wait, I'm going to that, but I want to start with Shakespeare's quote.
Okay.
To be or not to be? That's the question. Why am I starting with that quote?
Why?
Many Nigerians are being sugarized to death. Now, when you talk about food, it's a basic, important necessity for survival. And I want to use the opportunity to call on the authorities to do more, especially as it relates to food, drugs, water. See, sometimes when I walk the streets, personally, I find it difficult to buy roadside breads because I don't trust them. We're talking about trust here. You know, it falls to trust. Why don't I trust them? Because when you see some of the practices that most Nigerians, I say most because we have responsible Nigerians, diligent Nigerians, Nigerians with integrity, trusted and trustable Nigerians that you can trust with things, but they are the bad eggs in the system that are defacing the system, giving the system a bad brand, a bad image, a bad representation, becoming toxic to the system, making it difficult for people to survive, the health of the citizens, putting it at risk. You see, this bromate you're talking about is very deadly to the system. Now, if from the reports, you talk about people using sugar, sugar that is not healthy. That's why I'm using this statement. Many Nigerians are sugarized to their early graves, and many of them don't know. You see, awareness is power. Awareness is important. Awareness is a medication, because when you are aware, you solve a huge part of that problem will be dealt with, because you are aware. If you are aware that you're eating poison, the first solution is you stop eating the poison. To a large extent, you have rescued yourself from early deaths. Most people are dying and they will say it's their village people. They won't know that it's the food they are eating. I learned the other day in the markets, because I go to the markets. People are putting chemicals in palm oil to multiply the palm oil. You know, people are ripening. I bought plantain once in the market, and I knew that something is wrong with the plantain. I don't need to be a food scientist. I don't need to take the plantain to the lab to test for the properties of the plantain. I don't need to check the plantain's health in a laboratory. The plantain was terrible. People are using chemicals to ripen plantain, to ripen bananas, to ripen oranges.
It is very pathetic, Dema. Not just that. It seems like a lot of things in the market, right? And you know that we are the ones doing this to ourselves. Because if you talk about awareness, some of the people doing these things are aware that what they're doing is wrong.
Let me say this. Yes, very correct. Some of them, especially some of the sellers,
of course,
they are aware, but there's an awareness, wickedness virus. Yes, you are aware that you are causing harm to someone,
yes,
and you are intentional, deliberate, doing it, packaging it, because you want to maximize profit. That's not even maximizing of profit. That is exploitation.
True.
And causing harm. And you can just classify it as wickedness, high propensity of wickedness. because you are selling. So you see, the whole thing comes to laws.
Before we get to laws now, let's also look at the Nigerians who are aware of some of these things. Now, I'm not talking about the sellers now, but the consumers. Have you heard anybody tell you that they kill African man? Have you heard anybody tell you, leave that one, we've been eating these things since? Have you heard an elderly person tell you, before you were born, I've been eating this thing and I'm not dead, nothing is wrong with me? So, aside awareness, even when we are aware, I remember hosting a health program, right? And a lot of times on that health program, I always try to debunk some of the beliefs that Nigerians have, like using breast milk in your eyes to clean the eyes, like using urine, sugar solution, and all of those things are deadly and they can destroy your eyes, your sight, you know. But some Nigerians, when you tell them this, even with facts, even if you're an expert, they'll be like, I've been doing it. Like, that's what our fathers were doing, and that's why we are the way we are, to even give birth to you, that you are like this. So some Nigerians are often aware that some of these things we're consuming is not good for us. But it's just this thing of, what do you think is the problem? Because awareness now, in this case, doesn't come to play.
You know, one of the challenges of our developments as a country, as a development economist, I can tell you boldly, factually, clearly, with all authority, that is unhealthy cultural practices that have stalled our developments. This ideology or this mentality or this backward thinking of "dirty they kill African man," for example, or every little thing we transfer it to our village people. Now we're talking about somebody, a factory producing bread with bromate chemicals, and risking the health of those citizens that are consumers. Maybe causing them lung problem or cancer problem or liver problem or kidney problem, and maybe some of them will die because we don't do the research. You might do a research on the consumers over a period of time, and you discover that 70% of the cases will end up in the hospital, and some will end up in critical situations because their vital organs have been hampered, tampered, and damaged as a result of the consumption of toxic and poisonous substances that is not good for their health and well-being. Right? So they will end up dying, and people will say it's their village people or people from the village. I'm not saying village people are not working, but
they are working.
Yes, I'm not going into that. And then they will transfer the blame to the village people. Now let's talk about the appetite of people who, they say the cheap thing. Most Nigerians, they like things that are cheap and easy. They like the easy way out. They don't want something that is right and do it rightly. I was in the market the other day, and some young university students were coming to buy fresh tomatoes. And you know, these fresh tomatoes is expensive now. Fresh pepper is expensive as well. And for me, because of my awareness, the level of my awareness and exposure as it relates to health, I went to the seller of the tomatoes. I said, give me the healthy looking ones. I took my time to select the healthy ones. While I was there, a close, keen observation, some other people came to buy tomatoes. They were going for the ones that were bad, that were spoiled. And the man was packing it for them, saying, I will give you much cheaper of it. I looked at them, I felt pity for them, because they are not, maybe they are aware, but because of their appetite for cheap things, they are damaging and causing health risks to them.
Some of them are food sellers.
Good.
So some of these food sellers, that's what they do to reduce costs of production. They go to get these really bad tomatoes. That's one reason they actually do that.
And so when you look at the roots of this problem, or you look at the DNA of the problem, why is it that Nigerians, they are aware that this thing is bad, but you're quoting it? We manage a lot in this country. You know, we manage. You see, when something is getting bad, you treat it, you deal with it, you attend to it. You don't manage something bad. You attend to the problem. You don't manage the problem. So many Nigerians have turned themselves to problem management experts. You see that something is bad, the food is bad, the fruit is bad, the thing you're selling is not good. Then you are managing it until it gets really bad. So that's the problem. So you look at the DNA of this, it comes to the appetite of many Nigerians for cheap and easy way out. We just want the cheap things, the easy way out. We don't want to do it rightly.
But isn't that also a part of isn't the economic hardship also a part of the reason Nigerians have to, because people have to feed? Let's look at people who cannot really afford the good tomatoes, like you mentioned.
I understand. You know, there's something poverty causes. It's not just the deprivation of you not having money or house or food. poverty has an effect. It affects the mind. It affects the mind. It kind of makes one, it traps one into a hole or into a web where the sense of responsibility seems to be lost. Now, yes, somebody can be poor, but yet you know what is right and you know what is good. You can use little to achieve much. Sometimes you don't need much to achieve much. You can use little to achieve much. When I was growing up as a young boy, my mother always tells, sound the alarm. She always reminds us that you might have one shirt and one short knicker. But make sure the one shirt and one short knicker you have, you clean it, you keep it neat, you maintain it. She tells us that it's not so much about the clothes you have. If you can't maintain the little you have, you will have a warehouse filled with clothes. They're all going to be a mess. You might not have much money to buy good tomatoes in the market, but you have a little. What do you do with the little? That is being influenced by your mindset, you know. The mindset you have influences your actions. And action speaks louder than words. It's as true as it has ever been. So poverty has a way of shaping the mind of people, influencing their actions to, oh, let me manage, give me this small one, even the little they have. Use the little well. Don't wait for much. But the little you have, use it well.
Do you think we should have more empowerment programs so that we can empower more people out of poverty?
The first empowerment we need is the empowerment of the mind. And I'm very happy that's what we're doing right now. There might be somebody that's listening that is mentally empowered. And the transformation and change that we want to see in our society starts from the empowerment of the mind. When we free our mind, when we liberate our minds from these unhealthy cultural practices that have trapped us and kept us in a cycle of continuous poverty, then we have started the journey of development.